Welcome to this lesson. In this one, you're going to learn about writing great articles. Here's the process for writing a great article. Select the topic, you research it, you organize your article, you write it actually, you make it beautiful, you edit it, and then you post it or you schedule it. So let's break down each of those parts. With topic selection, we've talked a lot about this in this course. So for you really just have to go back to your ideation process. If you have that swipe file of documents and links or ideas, go back to that and pick your top article ideas and start with those ones. When you're looking at those topics, you want to make sure that you're thinking of something that's current or something that's just completely evergreen. So something that it doesn't matter if someone's looking for it today or in a year from now or 5 years from now, it's still going to be relevant. And then you also might want to look for a gap in the market. So look for something where it's a hot topic, but there's not as much content out there yet. Okay, so that's also a fine way to do it. And sometimes you can kind of catch fire with those types of articles or written content if there is that gap in the market. And really the only way you'll know if that's true is if you're staying on top of your trends, you're following other influential thought leaders in your topic area, and you're realizing that there's something that is new and exciting that hasn't been talked about enough. The next stage is research. So what you want to do is find all of your related content yourself that you've posted. So if you have videos or other articles or other products or services related to that topic, then keep that on hand because you'll want to be linking out to that other content. Just like we saw in the case study on the articles from the last section, I do a lot of cross-linking because you want to make sure that you are keeping people on your website as long as possible. And cross-linking doesn't necessarily have to mean just on your website. You could be linking from an article to a YouTube video or an article to a Facebook community or group or something like that. When you're doing your research, you want to be looking for other things like quotes, images, or case studies that can make an article more interesting. There's lots of great places to find free images. We'll talk about that in the future. But looking for images that are free to use or licensing images is an option. And then looking to other thought leaders or finding examples, that's really what people connect with, is if they hear stories that they can relate to. So trying to find those stories can be helpful. Once you have your topic, you've done your research, it's time to organize. So before you actually start just writing it out, to create better articles, you want to have a structure. So that structure is typically going to be an introduction, the body of the article, a close, and then a call to action. And then sometimes you'll include a call to action earlier in the introduction or after the introduction, such as if you have a lead magnet, like a downloadable PDF guide, you can include that higher up in the article rather than just at the end. You'll probably get more engagement and conversions with that sort of call to action up above than if it's just at the end of the article, because most people that end up on your article aren't going to reach the end. That's just the fact of the matter. So start to outline these different sections. So really think about with the introduction, what's going to be catchy, what's going to get someone's attention if they land on that page. For the body, think of the 3 to 5 main points that you are trying to get across. Break it down into those big sections of the body, and then later on you'll write out all the content. And then lastly, with the close, make sure you have some sort of reason for people to do something next. What's the next thing you want people to do? Is there another article you want people checking out? Is there a product or service that you want people checking out? That's going to be tied in with the close and with another call to action. And then it's time to write. One tip is to really think about your customer persona while you are writing. If you need to, have that image like I do while recording this video of your ideal customer right in front of you so I can pretend like I'm talking to them. And if you're writing, that's a really good idea so that you are speaking in the personality and the tone that you want, and really thinking from their perspective and thinking of from where they're at as you're writing. You also generally what is typical nowadays is to speak directly to your reader. Just like I'm speaking directly to you in this video, you can use the words you and I in your articles to build that connection. I don't think having your articles completely in third person is the rule anymore. And I think actually trying to connect directly with the reader is more important. When you start writing, it's probably better to start with the body of your content, write all of that out before you do the introduction and the outro. Because as you write the body, just like if you're doing an essay or a research paper back in school, you probably did the same. You would write the body before the intro and the conclusion. At least that's what I was taught to do, so that you know exactly what is said throughout the body. So you can really pare that down into an engaging intro and outro later on. And then lastly, you got to add your calls to action. So this should not just be lead magnets that are separate from your article, but they should be written content within your guides and your articles explaining what people should be doing next. If there's another article or guide that they're interested in, it could just simply be a hyperlink that sends them there, or it could be text that's written out saying, if you're interested in this topic, you should check out this other article or course or whatever it is, your other content that they might be interested in. In the last lesson, we talked about wanting your content to be user-friendly. With articles, that means beautifying it. So adding images, graphics, videos to break it up and also just make it look more appealing. Add headings, so that means changing the font size and actually making it a header style font. That's going to be different depending on what website creator you use, but in general, with any website creator, WordPress or a blog creator or Wix or really anything, Squarespace, there's going to be an option for creating text that's a header. And not only is that good for breaking up visually the content of your article, but Google and other search engines read those headings differently than they read the regular text of the article. They see that as more important. And so with your headers, you definitely want to have that be your main like keywords and section headers that include keywords that people might be searching for on Google or other search engines. And those will carry more weight and help your articles and your written content rank higher if you have proper keywords in your headers. You want to add a title to your post, and this is something that you should spend just as much time thinking about what the actual title of your post should be as you probably did writing the actual content. It should definitely be keyword friendly. It should be exactly what your article or content is, but it also has to be catchy and enticing, not spammy and not clickbaity, but trying to get people onto that article. And then sometimes, depending on your website creator, you add a featured image, which is not only the image that shows up at the top of the blog post or the written content, but it's also an image that will show up in search engines as well, next to your content when people see that in a search engine. After you do this one pass of just creating the content, it's important to edit it. Walk away, take a break, and come back to it and make sure that you reread your article, fix any mistakes, and also ask yourself if it solves the initial problem of the topic, the pain point that you were creating this content for. Does it truly help that? Hopefully it does. If not, figure out ways to make it even better. Check for SEO and keywords. So SEO is search engine optimization. So you want to make sure that throughout your articles, you are using keywords. You definitely don't want to just be adding a bunch of keywords just for the sake of adding keywords. But if there's ways to say something that's a little bit more keyword friendly, meaning using words that people will be searching for, use those words whenever possible. Also, ways to make your website content more SEO friendly is to use things like the alternate text for images. Again, this is going to be different for any sort of website builder, but you can usually edit an image and add alternate text. This not only helps people who are visually impaired to understand what is on your content, because with different website readers for people who are visually impaired, it can actually read through and say exactly what the image is, But Google and other search engines see that alternate text as well. And again, if it's something keyword friendly, it's going to help your article rank well. And then lastly, it's time to post it or schedule it. Most of us are going to be creating content in advance and scheduling it to be posted. It's great to have a schedule, so posting a new article at the same time or on the same day of the week, just so your audience knows when it's going to come and they expect that. And when they know and expect that, they're more likely to come back to your website and try to consume your content. So that's up to you depending on your content schedule. Overall though, remember that quality of content and the quality of your writing is better than quantity. Of course, it's great if we can put out a ton of great content all the time, multiple articles a week, but if you're doing this by yourself, that's going to be difficult. So I would much rather have you spend the time creating 5 to 10 amazing articles or guides than trying to post every week. Quality over quantity. The next tip is that the headline or the title of your article and the first sentence are the most important. If you don't nail those, people are going to click away or they won't even end up on your article or written content. So spend time thinking about how to make that enticing. You want to be true and honest. No spam, no trying to trick people, especially if this is a part of your marketing funnel and trying to get people to buy a product or service from you. And they're going to see right through you if that's the ulterior motive of an article. The main point of your written content is to be engaging, to be helpful, to be entertaining, but not to sell. So just remember your audience, remember who you are talking to, remember who you are trying to help. And when you do that, your content is going to be great.